Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a card that is so reviled, so disgusting that at one point it was banned, and then for some reason, kind of unexplained to us, it was unbanned. I mean, I'm sure there was an explanation, but I don't know what in the world they were thinking. Let's talk about it right now. Worldfire. This is a card that is insane. A sorcery for 9 mana in total. 6 red. Exile all permanents. Exile cards from all hands and graveyards. Each player's life total becomes 1. That's right. Everything is gone. And this is all that remains. This is everything. Worldfire says everything goes away. Nothing is safe. Well, I guess except for libraries. But still, nothing is safe. Life totals are not safe. Graveyards are not safe. Hands are not safe. Everything on the battlefield goes away. Oh, you've got Indestructible Commander? I don't care. Basically, let's just top deck and see who wins. Now, of course, there are ways to ensure that you might be the one who wins, and we'll talk about some commanders that work amazingly with this one, whether it is going and actually getting it, ensuring that you cast it pretty consistently, pretty quickly, in some pretty crazy ways, including a newer commander, as well as other ways to say that, you know what, I'll cast this, and when I do, I'm going to be the one that wins. With all that said, let's jump into those commanders that you should be building around with Worldfire. So, first up, again, a newer commander from the most recent set with Boomborough, the infamous Cruel Claw. Yeah, it's a 3/3 Weasel Mercenary with Menace that costs 3 mana in Rakdos. Whenever it deals combination to a player, exile cards to the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast the card by discarding a card rather than paying its mana cost. Now, this commander basically says, hey, you know what? Get me out. Let me swing. Let me hit someone, and then all of a sudden, cast some lovely goodness off the top of the library. Again, basically cascade without an upper threshold. Again, it's not like, oh, cascade, you know, oh, it's got to be something that's 3 or less. No. It's just cascade, and whatever you hit, you hit. And here's the thing. If you build a deck, which I built a couple of these on this channel, where, you know, it's been 97 lands, 99 lands, 100 lands. Well, this one would be a 98 land deck because, yeah, you'd have your commander, you'd have the 99, and there would just be Worldfire. So you are guaranteed to hit it. And with this commander, you can do that as early as turn 3. I mean, Gemstone Caverns, of course, yes. But even a card that is incredibly budget-friendly, like, you know, Dwarven Ruins, comes into play, taps for a red. You can tap and sacrifice it to add red. Again, tapping and sacrificing this is obviously no big deal at all because all lands are going to go away anyways, right? You're okay with losing all the lands. Those don't matter. So again, turn 1, get this down. Turn 2, throw down a swamp. Get down your commander. Turn 3, swing. There's going to be one opponent that does not have 2 blockers up by the time turn 3 comes around. Come on. You swing, you hit, you cast Worldfire, and then maybe you just finish your opponents off with something, you know, I mean, you get your commander back out eventually. You're going to be hitting your land drops, right? That being said, you could just Sunscorched Desert on your next turn and very, very depressingly take out one of your opponents. Again, ETBs, 1 damage target player. How would you like to lose to that? Again, turn 4 comes around. You've barely done anything in the game. You thought you had a good start. You're like, oh, turn 2, Signet, great. Oh no, they cast a Worldfire. Everything's gone. Okay, well, I guess I'm rebuilding. Okay, and the next turn, Sunscorched Desert. I got taken out by a land. Yeah, that's going to be frustrating. So yeah, Infamous Cruel Claw can be a best friends forever commander with Worldfire, so make sure you're keeping that one in mind. Next up, Atali Primal Conqueror. This commander is yet another one of those where, sure, you can just build entirely around this, and it's also one that you can just like literally win with on the spot as well. A 7/7 Elder Dinosaur Trample for 7 mana in red enters the battlefield. Each player exiles cards to the top of their library till they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled without paying their mana cost. You can also, you sure, transform Atali. It turns into basically Blightsteel Colossus on the back, essentially, but don't worry about that. The front side is actually the scary, disgusting side, and that is saying something because the back side, again, is basically Blightsteel Colossus light. That being said, this is the type of commander that, again, you could just build literally Atali, Primal Conqueror, plus, 99 lands, or 98 lands, plus Worldfire, and there you go. You're guaranteed to hit it. That being said, you can still be guaranteed to hit it and actually, hit a lot of other things. Because, again, Atali Primal Conqueror is going to let you cast things off the top of your opponent's libraries as well. And even though everything is going away, if you order them correctly when you're casting them, you're going to be like, okay, Worldfire first. That just gets rid of everything else. Oh, then my opponents had even just like a simple creature. That would probably do it, unless that creature has Defender, of course. But yes, that being said, you can also cast more than just that because you can use things like Twin Flame or any other kind of red copy effect. Choose any number of target creatures you control. For each of them, put a tokens copy of that creature on the battlefield. Those tokens have haste. Exile begin the next end step. I mean, you need to strive it to do the extra, but don't worry about that. Essentially, what you're going to be doing again is you hit this off the top. Oh, okay, well, cool. All right, I'll make a clone copy of my Atali. All right, that clone dies because of the legend rule, but that doesn't matter. What happens is I get that trigger again, which means that everyone, including my opponents, are going to be revealing more things, and then more things, and then more things, and then more things. Yeah, lots of fun can be had, but eventually you're going to hit your Worldfire and just, decimate your opponents. They might think that it's going in one direction, but it's going to go in a different, very scary direction. Definitely a way to win as well with this commander. Moving on, Norin the Wary. One of those cards that when you're younger, you might see this and be like, I mean, even nowadays, you're like, why did they make this? This is terrible. This is awful. This is one of the worst cards ever made. But actually, it's quite ingenious, and with Worldfire, it's hilarious. A 2/1 human warrior for a single red mana. Whenever a player plays a spell or a creature attacks, remove Norin the Wary from the game, return to the player, it's always controlled at the end of the turn. Norin the Wary can, survive nearly anything. Okay, except for, activated abilities that can remove it. Like, a simple Tim will take it out, right? That being said, yeah, you get this into play, and then you cast Worldfire, and then Norin the Wary says, oh my gosh, that's the scariest thing of all time. I'm out of here. Goodbye. So instead of getting exiled from Worldfire, Norin says, I'm just going to see myself out for a little bit, okay? I'll be back. So Norin comes into play at the end of the turn. Your opponents, well, everything that they have is gone. All your things are gone as well. Everyone's at 1 life, and unless they literally go land drop creature, they're gone. So again, Norin the Wary might seem like it's kind of a commander that's like, what are you going to do with that? Your opponents won't take you seriously, and that's what you want from them. You want to have this commander. You can get a bunch of ritual effects. You can get a bunch of crazy things going on, and all of a sudden, you're like, oh, yeah, by the way, my commander's going to leave. Come back. And then everyone's going to be gone. Norin just, leaves, comes back, and what happened here? Everything's gone. Oh, I'm just going to swing right through on this opponent. So, yeah, have fun with that. Take your opponents out with, again, this commander that they will not take seriously. Moving on, though, Zozu the Punisher. Yeah, if you really want to punish your opponents, you can definitely do so with Zozu, a 2/2 Goblin Warrior. For 3 mana in red, whenever a land enters the battlefield, Zozu the Punisher deals 2 damage to that land's controller. Do you want to hold all the other players at the table hostage? Yeah, you can definitely do so with Zozu. What you're going to be doing is literally I got Worldfire. I use all the rituals in red. I get it out super quickly. I go just all the way, get to the Worldfire, cast it, and all of a sudden everything's gone. And then, as soon as I can, I get Zozu out. Might be, 2 turns from now. Depends if you got some more ritual effects as well. Maybe some quick lands too later. You can get out maybe in 2 turns if you're lucky. Get down to play, and all of a sudden, the game is locked down. Your opponents literally cannot play any more lands. I mean, you can't either, but you're okay with that because you've got Zozu in play. So all of a sudden, lands cannot be played anymore, and if they don't play lands, they're going to get taken out by Zozu. So you can just kind of hold the table hostage, punish them. I mean, if you're really, really mean, you're like, okay, I passed the turn. Aren't you going to swing and finish me off? No. No. So yeah, you can do some pretty disgusting things. Of course, you also can have Ghost Quarter type effects where you're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. Destroy your land. Go get a land. You lose. So yeah, could be quite fun with things like that. Well, at least fun for you. Next up, speaking of fun for you, finish off all of your opponents at once with Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, a 6/6 Elder Giant for 2 mana in Rakdos. Enters the battlefield, sacrifice unless it escaped. Enters the battlefield or attacks, your opponent discards a card. Then your opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. You can escape it for 4 mana in total, exiling 5 cards from your graveyard. Now with this, you are like, oh, okay, yeah, I've got a 2 mana commander. Great. All right. So you can get that out pretty quickly after you Worldfire, right? Just, 2 turns, getting lands out. Great. Okay, so do that. And your opponents better hope that they have a non-land card to discard, and they've got to play around that. And if they don't, they lose. They literally just lose. They could just lose just by the luck of the draw, not getting the right card off the top of their library that they have to remember to actually just hold in their hand and just keep there and be like, I need to wait to discard this. And even if they do discard that, okay, you did it. Great. Cool. All right, I'm just going to put my commander back in the command zone and then do it again. Oh, and then later I can just put it, in the graveyard and then exile some things from my graveyard. Your opponents won't have an opportunity to survive when you've got Kroxa / Worldfire / whatever other disgusting things you've got in this Rakdos strategy. Yeah, you could just definitely do a bunch of group slug things too, just to decimate your opponents so quickly their heads will spin. Moving on, let's move things in a slightly different direction with Jod Mage Eternal. This is yet another one where it's like, your opponents might be able to see what's happening and what's going to be coming, but it doesn't matter. They are going to lose. There is probably nothing they can do about it. A 2/2 human wizard for 3 mana. Is it pay 2, exile a non-land card from your hand, put 4 time counters on it. If it doesn't have to spend, it gains to spend. So again, basically with time counters, you move 1 basically at your upkeep, and then when the last one's removed, you get to cast it for free. If it's a creature, it has haste, which actually can come in handy, because essentially what you're going to be doing again is you're like, okay, cool, all right, got all these cards. There are, suspended. They got time counters on them. Oh, by the way, one of them is Worldfire. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you might have some counter spells ready just in case your opponents are like, oh, that's coming. I got to stop it. And you're like, I'm a blue mage. Counter that. So essentially what you're going to be doing is you say, okay, these things are coming. Okay, if you can't stop it, you lose. Worldfire is coming in a couple of turns. By the way, I probably have ways to manipulate the number of counters on there. Maybe make it go a little bit quicker. And then all of a sudden, my, 9 mana spell, which only cost me really 2 to actually cast, all of a sudden comes out. The opponents are like, oh no, everything's gone. And then right behind it is another spell that finishes all of the opponents off. So again, yet another commander, kind of like, what we talked about earlier with Atali, that can actually just Worldfire and then win on the spot. Jod Mage Eternal, you are amazing. Moving on. Now, I am someone who absolutely loves Jod Mage Eternal. I have built a couple of Jod decks. In fact, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th, maybe even 2nd deck tech on this channel, I believe. I love Jod. 5 color budget. What's not to love about that? 4/3 human wizard with flying for 4 mana. You might think it's in Jeskai, but it's actually in Wooburg. You may pay Wooburg rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast. So essentially, yeah, Jod. Amazing, fun times. Cast all the big things. Great, awesome. Here's the thing. Your opponents are going to be like, oh yeah, they got all this value. They're definitely not going to do so. Like, why are they casting Worldfire? No. Yeah, you can go in a completely different direction than most Jod decks out there. Again, Jod decks usually are like, okay, big things that are really going to benefit me. Or you got a Jod deck like mine. It's like Giant Villainous Wealth for some reason. That's just I decided to build that. But you can go in a different direction and be like, okay, yeah, I've got all these big beneficial things, but also, you know what? With all this ramp I have, I can do this so quickly. And again, literally, you can do this super quick with this one because you can just cheat it out. Again, instead of being 9 mana, it's 5 mana, Worldfire. Let's see what happens, shenanigans. And again, since you're at 5 color, you've got access to all the juicy things. So many amazing ways to win from there. Of course, you can actually just utilize cards like, well, I don't know, like maybe Nezahal, or maybe like, what was it, Anarid Bushhopper, or whatever that one is, Brushhopper. Whatever cards essentially that can come into play, kind of like Norin, and then you can just exile when you want to, and then they come back at the end of the turn and win in that way. So you can just build around this entire concept, this entire theme. You've got so many ways to tutor. Again, you got 5 colors. You could just build entirely Jod Worldfire, no stopping it deck. Yeah, have fun with that one. Now, speaking of fun in 5 color, let's get weird with the first Sliver. Now, 99.99999% of decks built around the first Sliver. Okay, that's not actually probably correct. Are Sliver decks, but the vast majority are. I mean, I had to say this. It's got to be at least 99%, right? 7/7 Sliver with Cascade that costs 5 mana in Wooburg. Sliver spells you cast have Cascade. It's an absurdly powerful commander, especially for Slivers. That being said, we don't care about any of that. The only thing we care about is literally that this just says Cascade and that it has red in it. That's literally all we care about. Literally, if we had any kind of other commander that had red, that had Cascade on the cast, that cost at least 3 mana, that is literally all we would do. If we had another option, we'd use it. There might be one now. I don't think there is. There's another one that's in Simic, but I don't believe there's another one that's Cascade that's in just, 5. Anyways, I mean, that's Cascade on the cast. Anyways, what you're going to be doing this one is you literally just have this. You've got your 97 lands, and you've got Worldfire and Tybalt's Trickery. This is such a weird interaction, but here we go. Instant for 2 mana in red. Counter target spell, choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards and exiles cards to the top of their library until they exile an online card with a different name than that spell. They may cast a card with paying its mana cost. Then they put the exile cards on the bottom of their library in a random order. All you need to do is cast the first Sliver, and then you're cascading, right? First Sliver is still on the stack. It goes through your entire deck essentially until it hits this, because this is the only card in the deck that costs less than 5. Less than 4, I should say. Regardless, then you hit this, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, cool, I counter my commander. That's weird. Okay, and then, I mill 3 cards, or 2, or 1, depending on what I hit at random. Hopefully it's not Worldfire. And then all of a sudden, off the top of my library, I get to cast the Worldfire. And your opponent's like, what in the world are you doing? You built a first Sliver deck just to counter your own first Sliver, then to cast Worldfire and hopefully chaotically win, and you're like, absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely a sane person. So yes, first Sliver, non-Sliver tribal, absolutely go for it. And then let me know how it went. Next up, a commander that is literally only 7 cents. This commander is so spicy and so fun and so Worldfire, a 4/4 Viashino Artificer. We've got Kylox, Visionary Inventor for 7 mana, and is it Menace, Ward 2, and Haste. Yeah, good luck stopping this, opponents. Whenever it attacks, sacrifice any number of other creatures and exile the top X card of your library, X their total power. You may cast any number of instant and or sorcery spells from among the exile cards without paying their mana cost. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be like, okay, maybe I'll go wide, maybe I'll go tall. Combination of both. Just, you know what? Actually, just get everything in play. And then all of a sudden, swing, sacrifice, and get a ton of cards off the top library. You are in colors that can manipulate the top of your deck. You got ways to tutor for Worldfire, ways to put on top like Brainstorm. Ensure that you actually get that, and all of a sudden, you are casting not only Brainstorm, but plenty of other spells as well. So again, this can be the type of like Atali, type of Joyra kind of deck where you're like, okay, I'm set up, I do the thing, and all of a sudden, when the thing happens, everyone's cards are gone, everything is gone, we are down to 1 life each, and then all of a sudden I cast a very simple spell that just deals 1 damage to everyone else, and then I win. There are ways to do it, of course, and Kylox is definitely a commander that can help you do it in a very unique way. Next up, Vadric Astral Archmage, a 1/2 human wizard for 3 mana, and is it day or night? Yeah, it becomes day, whatever. If day or night's what gets counter on it, don't really worry about that too much. I mean, it's nice to have. That being said, what matters is instant source spells you cast cost X less cast for X's Vadric's power. It is super easy to get a lot of power on this very, very quickly. I mean, yes, equipment, but also in red, you've got a lot of, hey, what's your power? Cool, double that type effects. So essentially you just get a lot of power onto this, and then all of a sudden that really expensive Worldfire becomes a 3 mana spell, and you can handle 3 mana, right? You can also handle other spells to be cast with Worldfire too if you really need to do that, but don't worry about that. All you're going to be doing is saying, you know what, let's quickly get to that Worldfire, and then all of a sudden the game just completely shifts and changes to, we're not playing a regular Magic game anymore. We're playing who top decks the best things quickly and who wins in that way. So yeah, when it comes to this kind of a commander, being able to just reduce the cost of so many instant sorceries, let you do so many crazy things. I mean, draw so many cards, or just, tutor Worldfire, and then all of a sudden look at your opponent's faces and be like, yeah, this is that kind of a deck. And then they're going to hate you forever. Vadric! And I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the episode, but I'm mentioning it at the end, so my apologies. But yeah, this is the kind of deck that, like, with your play group, when you're playing with them and you know your play group, yeah, it's fine to, pull a trick on them every once in a while, right? But, like, at your LGS, you probably should be asking first before you're like, by the way, we're not playing regular Magic, we're playing Worldfire. It's probably why it was a banned card, and I'm not sure why they unbanned it, but, you know, you never know. All right, a 2/1 Monkey Pirate. I mean, that's banned, but, you know, Dockside's still not banned. What in the world is going on? Unbanned. Anyways, Ragavan Nimble Pilferer for a single red mana Monkey Pirate deals combination of player, create treasure token, exile the top card of the player's library until the end of the turn. You may cast that card, dash for 1 and a red. This commander does 2 things for you that are very good for Worldfire. Number 1, if you want to get this out early, cool, do so. You know, swing away, swing away, swing away, get lots of treasures, build up to get Worldfire cast quickly. Or, and your opponents might be very suspectful of you. Suspectful is not a word. They might suspect you a lot. There we go. They're going to be very concerned with what you are doing when you're not playing your commander and you're just holding it back and you're like, okay, I play a land, I ramp, pass turn. They're like, what are they? It's a Ragavan deck, right? Like, why aren't they getting it out and attacking? And then you play Worldfire and like, that's why. So yes, casting Worldfire, basically setting the game back down to absolutely nothing. Everyone is top decking, and as soon as you hit a mountain, well, you're good to go because you get your commander out and then you start swinging. So again, you can go in one of 2 directions depending on maybe what your opening hand looks like. You can be like, okay, I need to start getting things ramped. I need to go quick. I need to get, you know, some value off my opponent's stacks. This gives you a little more flexibility than like Norin the Warrior, who's just literally like, no, get me into play, and then I'll just bounce around until I'm literally ready to go and take my opponents out. So yeah, Ragavan gives you a great option for Worldfire. Again, Worldfire is such a unique and incredible card. It is a card that I literally don't know why the rules committee like actually unbanned it. Like I'm not actually sure because like it kind of goes against like most their like core principles and stuff like that, I guess. But they're like, no, it's fine for now for some reason, but we're banning Painter's Servant because my god. Oh, actually, no, it was Painter's Servant got unbanned. What was the other one that got banned? Iona. Yeah, Iona, come on. Regardless, Worldfire, yeah, apparently okay. So, yeah, build a deck around it. And again, this is the kind of card that you can build entire deck around. You can just say, you know what, Worldfire, this is what I'm going to be doing. I can build it in this way or that way. I can go Cruel Claw, hit off the top of my library super early. I can go with another commander like, okay, I'm setting up these things like Joy the Get To where I'm going to cast this and then win it on the spot. I can set up other things like Zozu where I'm literally like, okay, let's just sit here and not do anything for a while and I'll hold you hostage with a Ghost Quarter. Cool. So yeah, Worldfire gives you a lot of different avenues to, well, annoy your opponents and win. Again, if you're playing this at an LGS against people you don't know, ask them first if they're okay with a non-standard normal deck. I mean, you don't necessarily have to just say like, Worldfire can be like, hey, I've got a specific plan in this deck where I am trying to not do the normal Magic thing and it might, you know, be a big spell that changes the way the game works, and maybe they'll be able to guess what it is, but be polite to other people at LGS. With your playgroup, if you've known them for a long time, yeah, you can probably pull one over on them. You know your playgroup better than I do. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. As always, comment below with your thoughts on it, and of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.